Merry Christmas, New Horizons. In 1 week, we went from snowy and cold to much warmer weather for this time in December. And I suppose we're all happy about that to some degree. But we're just a few weeks away from 2026. But isn't it amazing that many of the same problems we have today are the same ones that surrounded baby Jesus 2,000 years ago? Governments tried to eliminate Jesus then. They're still trying to eliminate Jesus the same way today. They tell us we don't need to hear the Christmas story again. Well, they didn't want to hear it then either. Well, this Sunday, we're going to continue to simply just tell the story of Christmas. I don't want to preach it, and I don't want to talk about reindeer and snowmen and things like that. I just want to tell you the story about what happened when the Son of God became the Son of Man. You know, it created a lot of attention then, and I've found that it still attracts attention of wise men today. Last week when we left off, I told you that there was another piece of the puzzle that was yet to be presented into the lives of our Christmas couple and their new baby boy. But just after the angelic visitations to Mary and Joseph, and after the birth of their new baby boy in Bethlehem, and after the visit from the shepherds and their baby's dedication, perhaps it just seemed possible for Joe and Mary just to simply relax. But not yet. Because the truth is, the entrance of this little baby boy would bring even more excitement to their doorstep. You know, we talked about the shepherds that worshiped the baby, and they weren't looking for that. They were surprised by that. But now, even not far off, outside of Bethlehem, the desert sand would dance beneath the evening winds of a caravan of camels that were walking in formation underneath the eastern stars of Israel. And what an interesting bunch this next group of travelers would be. For these desert camels were carrying royalty on their shoulders, and they were covered with rich materials and ornaments, and riding on their back were wise men or magi, as they called themselves, probably maybe from somewhere out east, way out east. And while we don't know a lot about them, maybe they were men of wealth and magic, maybe education. We don't really know. But one thing we do know for sure, they were scholars and they were astronomers. And these were men that could track the evening stars closely for guidance. For some reason, they were fascinated with the Hebraic prophecy, maybe especially that part of the Hebrew text that told us about a Messiah that was going to be born. That would be fascinating. And according to their estimation, the time of the Messiah would now be at hand. And this Sunday, I want to introduce them to you. But hidden in the background of their visitation is another character by the name of Herod. King Herod, no less. And he is as dangerous as a pit viper, but you're going to meet him this Sunday. Maybe the best part of that story, though, is that no matter how much trouble that old Slewfoot can stir up, God's great power is always able to put him back in his place. And this is really the gist of our story. God is always working in the quiet background of our lives to be able to show His glory, His might, and to prove the folly of that loathsome spirit, serpent, that we call the devil. And guess what? It really will be the greatest story ever told. Oh, I can't wait to see you. Merry Christmas to you.